Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stryve Golf Podcast. Devin here. With me as always is Sean. Sean, what's up, guy?
Not much, man. It's had to wait an extra day to record this week. It was depressing.
I was antsy. But what a worth the wait. We'll say that. That was very enjoyable for a Monday finish for the players. We're going to dive into that, but probably one of the most enjoyable rounds of golf I've watched in a long time, specifically Saturday. That was so much fun to watch. So we'll dive into that, but we'll just say it was worth the wait.
Yes, yeah. I think this tournament had just about everything. I lost track of what round they were playing several times.
It really was just like a cluster. Like I don't know what round they're on. I don't know what holes what's going on, but man, it was pretty entertaining. So let's just dive right into that, man. Let's just take us to the players and kind of give us your thoughts and the rundown.
Yeah. So started Thursday, as every tournament starts. And I mean, I was a little worried, right? Because conditions were pretty soft. They'd gotten a ton of rain, and it was just a dart fest all morning, really. So we saw some pretty low scores, and then really it was kind of out of nowhere because they weren't expecting to get the rain Thursday, but it rolled in around lunchtime and just 3 hours plus of a rain delay. And so that pushed them behind from the get-go. So essentially Thursday you had half the field finish Thursday. So that meant Friday was going to be a long day. But then of course Friday it delayed to start. And so then at that point you had the Thursday afternoon wave that still needed to play their first round. So they started to do that Friday afternoon. So what was it? By Friday, I don't even remember when they finished the first round. Do you? Was it Friday afternoon or Saturday morning?
It was Saturday morning. There was a handful of guys, like I want to say it was like almost like 20 dudes that hadn't even finished their full first round Saturday morning, which was crazy.
That's right.
It was complete by Saturday.
Yeah.
The first round.
So dealing with some pretty crazy weather. So primarily it was water that kept them off the course. So then finally Saturday rolls around and we don't get any rain, but it gets cold and it gets windy. And I'm with you. It was, for someone that has said that the Players Championship has not been my favorite tournament to watch, when that wind whipped up, man, it was intense. To me, that's where you got to see the full Pete Dye experience. Because tee shots are such a premium of that golf course. And when the wind picks up, it really separates kind of the solid ball strikers from the guys that don't really have it going for them that day. So Saturday was incredible to me. And I'll be honest, I probably watched 6 to 7 hours of coverage, and I easily more than half of it, I just had it on the feature number 17 hole. I was only watching 17. To me, it was fascinating theater. Playing 145 yards. The wind was coming straight in on them. It was gusting all day. And I think, I mean, you had guys hitting anywhere. JT hit a 6-iron, which is nuts, thinking that, I mean, that's probably a stock 200-yard club for him, potentially. And it just made for some really good theater. So Saturday was a big day for getting a lot of holes, playing catch up. And then Sunday they wrapped up round 2 and got a huge chunk of round 3 in. And then were able to come out this morning and finish the rest of round 3 and round 4. So it was, like I said, it was hard to keep track of what round they were playing. And there was a while by Friday afternoon, I'm like, man, they might not finish till Tuesday, which is wild because I don't know if you saw this floating around, but there's kind of like a PGA Tour policy where if it gets pushed back enough by Friday or whatever, they'll make the call to just go down to 54 holes. Like as soon as they play 54 holes, they'll call it as an official tournament. And they've got all these contingencies in place. But the Players Championship is the one exception. That's the one where they'll push it for as far into the next week if the commissioner is okay with it
Hmm.
to get the full tournament in. So I thought that was interesting because I never heard about that
I
before.
had no idea.
So I was looking because that's why you normally don't see tournaments finishing on Tuesday, right? Like if it's so bad, they'll just call it,
Yeah.
by end of Monday. But with the players, they have that option of dragging it further into the week. So that seemed like it was going to be a real possibility Friday afternoon. But as far as the golf itself, it was kind of all over the place, like the conditions, right? You had pretty random leaderboard where at some point, basically the middle of the third round, there was nobody. I want to say there was nobody in the top ranked in the top 25 in the world that was in like the top 10 of the leaderboard. So you had a bunch of guys that had never really won anything big before, but playing some fantastic golf. Mainly Bong Lahiri, who I think he was ranked in like the 300s in the world, which shocked me because I watched a lot of his round today. The dude's a player. Like he was striking it so well and was not fazed by the moment. And honestly did well enough to win any given year. He just ran into an absolute freight train in Cam Smith, who starting this morning, because he kind of faded a little bit yesterday, but then starting this morning, finishing his third round and getting into his fourth round, went on an absolute tear. His final round today, if I'm remembering correctly, he only made 3 pars. No, 4. It had to be 4 pars. Yeah, 4 pars.
10 birdies,
4,
right?
Yeah, 4 pars, 4 bogeys, and 10 birdies in a final round. And it was just
unreal.
Everything kind of came together because he's probably the best putter in the world, especially inside 10 feet. He's just pretty much automatic. And he was stuffing it that close all day and just one putt after one putt after one putt. It was fun to watch. And even like his last 3 holes were an absolute roller coaster. Starting on 16, which is a par 5, he snap hooked it so hard left, like Orlando was in danger.
It's Debbie left.
I can't believe when he was able to like find it. That looked like it was well into the forbidden forest.
I know. As soon as I saw this, the shot tracer, I was like, oh no, that is so relatable. That's not good. That's off the planet.
And so he finds it, punches out, and he still has 250 in for his third shot. Knocks it on the green, gets out of there with a par.
Run of the mill 5.
Yeah, just routine. Rolls up to 17, and we'll have to talk about this after the recap. What your favorite pin location on 17 is. But Sunday, or I guess we can't call it Sunday because it was Monday, but the traditional final round pin location on the island green is the very far right of the island. Like if you're looking back on the tee box, the pin literally looks like it's in the middle of the water.
It's in the water, yeah.
And watching Cam Smith's tee shot here, the shot tracer.
Oh no.
You're like, that's wet.
I thought it was water.
100% wet.
Yeah.
He somehow lands it right of the pin, and there's like no more than 3 feet right of that pin.
No.
Stuffs it to 3 feet. Yeah, there's no way.
He pushed it. Let's be honest.
It was the Ricky Fowler line that. Yeah. What did he do? He hit that shot like 5 times when he won it, right at that pin. So, I mean, incredible shot there to give himself a 3-shot lead going into 18. And you're thinking, all right, all you got to do, avoid the water.
Forget 16 tee shot. Just
avoid the water. Sure enough, he misses it on the tee shot, which you're thinking, okay, we avoided it on the tee shot. Then he proceeds to hit his second shot, trying to punch it through the trees. That goes into the water. So then at that point, you're like, I mean, I'm no good at math, but that 3-shot lead, that could be in danger, because then Lahiri behind him, he stuffs it on 17. He gets within 2 shots. And so now at that point, you're like, oh man, this might get a little tight. But as he did pretty much all day, Cam Smith with a wedge in his hand, little 60-yard. That was such a sick wedge shot.
So sick.
Picked it so clean.
Incredible.
Just nestles it up to 3 feet under the hole. Knocks it in for another run-of-the-mill 5. And then Lahiri couldn't make the birdie to force the playoff, and Cam Smith picks up another win. This one's definitely his biggest win ever. A nice $3+ million paycheck to go with it. And I mean, I have to say, I thought it was very deserved. He played well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, echo to a lot of the stuff you said. I had similar thoughts, similar takes. It was, yeah, just so enjoyable. Like, I don't know what it was of just why I haven't really given the players much thought. Or I mean, I remember last year I was pretty excited about it. But this year, like, I was like, I don't know what it was, like come Thursday. I don't know. I was just pumped for it. And I think there was some content that came out from some other some golf podcast that I watched, that they, like the Fried Egg, they did like a full background on TPC, which was sick. I would recommend them to check that out. It was really cool, kind of the origins of the course, why it was built, what the intent was, and how it's really, when it first came out, all the players hated it, and it wasn't supposed to be this pristine, well kept up course. So to see it transform was really cool, and why they call it the stadium course, and how I'm sure being there in person is a whole different experience, because the way that I mean, that was a big part of their process in building the course, was making it really accessible for spectators and really enjoyable to see multiple shots and different things. So that was cool to watch that. I watched that on Thursday morning. And then no laying up, they had a little match thing that they did. So just little things like that, just to get more context of the course, which was cool. But I was just super excited. And then, yeah, Thursday, it's just crazy to think that, like, they had guys saying this is probably the easiest we'll ever see this course, to seeing what we saw on Saturday. And just, I just loved it. Like, I know the tour players don't love it, but at least the guys that, were out there playing, there was a few guys that didn't even have to playing it on Saturday. So they were super lucky. But anyway, just super enjoyable. It's nice to finally see the best players in the world not play, because they play week in and week out, the best conditioned courses under pretty good condition weather-wise, like all the time. So it's just good to kind of see a British Open type wins where, yeah, they're little chippy 6-irons from 130, like, so enjoyable. And it did make me kind of gain more love and respect for JT, which I already love JT. And especially after I told my wife that Victor said that I was kind of like JT, now she loves me even more. But anyway, that round that he put together on Saturday was incredible. That bogey free, the way he was shaping shots, like, that was just, I don't know, that was probably one of my most favorite rounds of golf that I've ever been played. Like, just given the conditions and just how he was hitting these low cut driver swings. I don't know. It was just, it was really entertaining, really fun to watch. But yeah, Cam Smith with that blacked out Scotty, that thing is, it rolled as good as it looked. Just
So
unbelievable.
that's how those things are supposed to be.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know what that's like. I hit it off the toe where the S in Scotty is, and it doesn't feel as good. But I guess center of the face, it rolls pretty true. But that was sick. That was enjoyable to watch. And I called it. Like I said, we're getting pretty good at calling these winners, man. It's really getting tempting. I had a couple people reach out even today and was like, dude, you guys need to put some serious cash down in Vegas, because you guys are calling these. I'm like, I know, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, shout out to him. Played amazing. Well deserved. Have this $40 million purse, biggest golf tournament prize wise to ever take place. Like, just wild to think about. But really impressive and enjoyable to watch. So shout out to him. To answer your question, I think the whole location, my favorite on 17, like, it's hard not to say, the final round, the traditional Sunday pin, just because for me personally, it would fit my eye really well, being, hitting a nice little cut into that. I could just aim at the bunker, and just, if it fades over, great. If not, we can just get the 2-putt. So that one is enjoyable. But I will say the first round, that one is probably, I think, the hardest shot, because it's right on top of that ridge, kind of in the back middle part section. And if you get too aggressive, it can hit once, bound over, go in the water. But it seemed like everyone was just hitting it just a little bit short, because they were afraid to take it all the way up there, and it zipped all the way back. Like, that is a crazy demanding shot, and one I would personally hate. So I'd say that one is probably the most enjoyable to watch. Like, I loved that. Like, that was super fun to watch. And I don't know about you. What are your thoughts on this about taking out the rough around the edge of the green, like just shaving that down to fringe? Like what do you think? What do you think of that? Do you like that there's, that I mean, I can't even count how many balls it stopped from going in the water, but are you for that or no?
So normally I'm team shaved bank,
Yeah.
but and it's hard to catch this on TV. If you get a ground view of that green, it's shaped such a way that if you banked it and got rid of the rough, you would probably lose an unfair amount of balls. Like I know, and
Yeah.
it's tough
It's like
because
spin control, man. Like you guys got to be able
controlling
to
your spin,
spin control.
controlling your spin is definitely a skill, but I just feel like you could hit a knockdown, pretty low spinny shot to the middle of that green,
And it
just
could take,
happens to land in the hill, and it's going to carry so much speed down to the front, right? If
yeah.
if balls landing in the middle are coming off even with the rough, that's
Yeah.
kind of where I'm at. But maybe you kind of change, maybe you give a little more buffer at the bottom of the hill, but
Mhm.
around the back for sure.
Yeah.
No
All
color
five.
or anything
Mhm.
would
Yeah.
be where I decide.
Yeah. I don't know.
But
Just thought about that where I'm like, that could be a really cool idea to just shave it all down. And yeah, it's like, hey,
yeah,
you guys, especially when the wind's not crazy like that, it's like, hey, 136 yards or so, like guys, part of that is spin control, which would, I don't know, but I agree with you there. But I would vote to just shave it down and just watch the carnage, because there was some like Scotty Shepard. I don't know if you saw his literally his second one so he hit it in the water, it goes to the drop area, and it was just hilarious to see all the divots in the drop area
yeah,
anyway. But the one he took pretty aggressive, took a hop, hit it in the rough, hit the wood, and then came back. Like that was crazy. But I just think that could make it maybe a little bit more entertaining to shave it all down. But anyway, I loved it. The players was super enjoyable, and shout out to Cam Smith, the mullet, the flow, and the stash. Shout it all out. The blacked out Scotty, well deserved for a nice paycheck this Monday.
oh, definitely. That's funny you mentioned. I'm a little surprised you said the back pin location on 17 because that's my favorite as well.
Hmm.
Although if the greens are soft, I love that far right one because guys will actually go at it, and that
Yeah.
makes just
Mhm.
the camera view from the behind the tee box watching them go at that pin is
Right.
pretty sick.
Right.
But from a pure shot making standpoint, that back left pin location is incredible to me, and
Yeah.
that's why Saturday was so much fun, because everybody everyone had to play that shot that day,
Yeah.
right? Because a
Right.
lot of golf tournaments, you say, "Oh, that was a really hard shot that guy had to hit," but that's not necessarily a shot that everybody in the field had to hit, right? He just happened to find himself there and he had to execute that shot.
Yeah.
But with 17 on Saturday, everybody had to hit that 145-yard shot to that same pin location with those wind conditions. And so it was just really cool to see almost that mini tournament inside the larger tournament to see, okay, let's see who can keep it low. And I loved, credit to Golf Channel, they had a statistic or a spread after the round that night. They showed like percentage of balls that went into the water depending on what they apexed at height
Right.
wise.
Under 100 feet, I'm
And
pretty sure it was like
yeah,
crazy how much higher.
everything over 100 feet, it was a way higher percentage of balls that found the water.
Yep.
And that
Yeah.
was really cool to me because guys that were flighting below that, that's a real sign of being in control of your golf ball. And
Right.
that, just to piggyback off what you're saying about JT, just that round of golf he played was amazing because he was in. I mean, it's hard to say you're always in complete control on a golf course, but he was 100% in control. Like, just seemed like he had every kind of shot going, whether it was that low peely fade with the driver,
Hmm.
he could work the low draw with the driver.
Yep.
He was choking down on those irons and just smooth swinging and just boring, just nice, perfectly straight, never offline,
Yep.
and had to make a lot of hard putts, which you're always going to face in the wind. Um, so that was it's unfortunate for JT that a golf tournament's a 4-round thing
Yeah.
because
Straight up. I was just thinking,
aesthetically and like shot for shot, he played as good of a round as anybody played
Yeah.
this week.
Yep. Agreed.
And it's almost like, man, I wonder, it probably took a lot out of him because he was definitely in the short end of the draw, and then having to deal with that and go through that. I wouldn't be surprised if he ran out of steam.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun to see pros kind of faced with a challenge and executing that shot. I don't know if you listened to the No Laying Up podcast last week where they had Harry Higgs on after Arnold Palmer. I highly recommend it. So Harry Higgs was trashing Arnold Palmer in the setup because he says, like, it doesn't matter what kind of shot you hit, just the way they set the course up with the rough and the baked out no grass greens. Like, it doesn't matter what kind of shot you hit, the ball's going to end up in the same spot. You're going to have to hit this hero recovery shot. Whereas he was really stoked about Sawgrass because he said, like, it forces you to hit shots, but if you hit a good shot, you're going to get rewarded. And I just feel like that was even more magnified on Saturday. And that's what the wind does. It's like, if you're hitting good shots, you'll get rewarded. And it's almost kind of a better indicator of, okay, who really was playing the best golf that week. But anyway, highly recommend listening to that podcast. And they also go into depth on him and his shirt taking off at the Waste Management. And he gives
Joel Damon.
Yeah, he gives this backstory of like the run up to that, and then everything that happened after the round, kind of his interaction with the tour. So all in all, I highly recommend listening to it. But
entertaining.
It was fascinating to me to hear just why he hates Bay Hill so much.
Yeah.
But then contrast that with kind of what everyone likes about Sawgrass.
Yeah, that's interesting. I totally get and can totally see where he's coming from. But yeah, from my perspective, from a spectator perspective, I would definitely say, like, that was fun to watch a little bit of carnage at Arnold Palmer, but this was, it really did seem like a completely different type of challenge and was way more enjoyable, like way more enjoyable. So yeah, I could definitely see that. So I'll have to give that a listen. But yeah, shout out to JT for that. And shout out for the Grayson sponsor, man. It's about freaking time. I've been saying it since like 2016. I'm like, the best thing JT can do is drop that stupid polo sponsor. And sure enough, they ended up dropping him due to an unfortunate hot mic situation. But shout out to that and Grayson. He's finally looking real good on the course.
He was looking fresh all week.
Been a big Grayson guy for quite some time now. So it's good to, I'd say kind of like cool and bad. It's like, man, I don't want everyone else is going to be rocking all the Grayson stuff, but shout out to him. But anyway, that was fun. Anything else? Any other thoughts on the players, or
just, if I had to play hole 18, I don't even know.
I stand no chance.
That tee shot is so far right. I don't know if you saw this. It came through on my feed today, but it was a Zyre Golf video. They were poking fun of this guy's aiming. Like, the fairway is literally like off of his left hip.
Yeah.
That's where I'm aiming on hole 18.
100%.
And still trying to block it right of that.
Oh, dude.
It's when you get down at like actual course level, because when you're looking at it from TV, the camera's a little elevated, and it's like, oh, you can see the fairway. That's totally fine. But when you're actually down on the tee box, like you just see water.
Yeah.
You can't see the grass at all because it's literally at water level. It's nuts.
And that's another thing that we love so much about the PDI courses is it's really, there's honestly more room than you would think generally off the tee with his golf courses, but from the tee, they're just so intimidating, and it looks like you have nowhere to put the ball. So yeah, I love that. I've said it a million times. I would literally run out of golf balls. Like it would be bad. Like, and I saw Adam Scott on Thursday. He had a great round going, and I was like, man, because it's a retee situation. Like, you can't even advance it. And yeah, it'd be tough. So that would be a very tough stretch of golf for me. So
would you pay the $850 to play it?
Oh man, I cannot believe that it's that much, like that it's that much to play there. If I'm being dead honest, I honestly think I would. I would. If it would be hard, like I wish I could like be there and like know, like make sure that I have like the right forecast. Cause obviously if it's like anything like it was on Saturday, no way. But I honestly think it would be a really cool experience to play it. So yeah, I honestly would. I think it'd be cool. But
I it's one of those where it's probably like a once in a lifetime golf trip.
yeah,
And for me, just having to spend that much money, if I'm going to do that, I think I'd probably try to do a Pebble trip first, even potentially like a Pinehurst trip first.
mm,
Um, I yeah, I don't know if I'd pay it for that. It just doesn't look like that fun of a course to play for me. I think
yeah,
it would beat me up so much. It's like I'd walk off feeling defeated. And it's like, can I just pay $100 and go play 17 or something?
yeah.
Like I'm interested in that, I
Yeah.
think.
I just like if I was hitting it well off the tee, like I do think it would be for me personally, I think it would be a lot of fun. Like there's just a lot of holes that I would love to play two. Like I'd love to play four. Like four, it looks like the coolest golf hole. Would be super hard, but that is really cool. Like so that one nine would be a really cool par five. Like I don't know, there's just a lot of holes that I would be so curious to put myself like in their shoes and like what kind of shots they have to hit. And I think there's a couple holes that like too because it fits. Just you just hit a snappy toe hook and you'll be fine. So I don't know. It does seem intriguing to me, and I legit I do think that I would like to do it. So
I think
yeah.
I think low key mentioning holes. I think low key one of my favorite holes on that course is 7. Doesn't get a ton of TV time just because it's on the front 9 and it's
7.
kind of
What one's
yeah.
7?
So it's shorter. There's water all down the left, of course, with that huge bunker on the left, and then the
Mm.
green. It's kind of like a narrow neck into a green, and there's kind of those big tall trees that sort of guard it on the
Oh,
right
okay.
side.
Okay.
Just it looks really cool from the tee box.
Mm. Yeah. There's
And
just a lot of that, I feel like.
yeah,
There's just
yeah,
so I don't know. If
but
I were to be dead honest, like I think I would probably rather play that than Pinehurst if I had to choose. But I don't know. Pinehurst is just so they're it's not created equal, but and maybe I'm
and
just
I
running this
guess
high because it was so
I,
enjoyable. But
I guess I would pick Pinehurst because you potentially play like
more than
3
just
other
number
courses
two,
with it or
right?
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. We'll
And
make it
that's
happen.
prob
We'll make it
yeah,
happen.
and I would say Pinehurst tends to be the course I gravitate a little more toward because I've made it clear how I feel about water on a golf
Yeah,
course.
for sure. And you got, you got the bump and run with the hybrid. You've been to Ben and you have that. I look at that and I see those tight lies around the greens. I'm like, uh-oh, this this could get bad. So anyway, well, we could break that down another time and go through that. But that is something that would be sick. And just kind of, why we love golf courses. We're definitely going to have that be a topic here soon with some other folks of why we like golf courses and just the architecture and you know anyway we'll go through that, but overall that was awesome and super enjoyable. So
For sure. I'd say probably not the only reason you were on a little bit of a golf high this week, was it? I've
oh
word on the street is
secrets out.
you found your way into a new addition to the family.
Hate to admit it, but it was I mean, dude, we've all seen this before. I was talking to you guys about the new club fitting and literally everyone around me, all my golf buddies have pulled the trigger on new clubs. So it was it was only a matter of time with an addict like myself. So I did. I went with a new brand that I haven't had anything of this brand before. Historically, kind of known as the old man brand. That's what my wife calls it. Because I think Phil Mickelson. But hey, they dropped Phil, at least pause. So I got the Callaways, the Apex Pros, Apex Pro irons. The typical set. The pitching wedge through 4-iron. And I don't know. I didn't even hit them before. Like this was kind of I had been eyeing them just because I liked the way they looked that much. And then, I did a ton of videos and they were always like all the videos that I looked at for reviews were comparing those and the T100s. And that was what I was going to get. Cause like coming from the AP2s Titleist guy, but they just, I don't know, they held their own. And a lot of the videos they said, depending on, how much turf interaction you have, and then obviously the shafts are big. variable. But I was just like, you know what, I'm going to do it. And, if my swings sound enough, it won't matter and I'll be able to play them. I was surprised though. So I got them on Sunday, unboxed them. I looked down at the 9-iron. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is tiny. Like
Wait, where's the head at? I can't see it.
no chance I scare this thing. So I was a little afraid. I grabbed my AP2, put it down next to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this thing is smaller. This is not good. But, so yeah, they sat there and stared at me all day today, for on Monday. And so I was able to go out and play, and it was great. My first swing was with the 9-iron, flushed it over the green. It was incredible. Number 11. So started on 10 and I had a gap wedge into 10. And then, I hit a 9-iron and just flushed it right over the green. So it was great. They're buttery, man. Like, and I will say though, like, it was like perfect timing because I had just kind of found like a little small swing thought lately with my irons. And you know how I am with that, man. If I just get one little thing that can just be just
plant
right.
The seed.
Plant
the seed.
I don't got to manipulate too much, but if it's just in the back of my mind, it can really help with my ball striking. And I had found that on Saturday, the last couple holes when I was playing. And sure enough, it worked out great. I mean, I usually hit it, my misses off the toe with my irons and didn't even scare it. So I will say in these shafts, the KBS, they're a little bit lighter than my Project X shafts that I had in my AP2s. So, and they have a different finish, which I really like aesthetically. It looks really good. So yeah, I'm riding a double high right now, man. It was a good round today. We played a little wolf game with me and two other buddies and got the dub finally. So that was nice. So anyway, riding a high, but absolutely love them. Like with most irons, right? Like at this point with a Forge Club, if you hit it in the center, you're gonna love it. But they just look really good at address. Love the finish. Kind of, I was telling you, they kind of have like that ping finish, that chromy matte finish to them. They're not as shiny as the AP2s, which I really like, again, aesthetically. So yeah, they were great. Loving them so far. Stay tuned. But so far,
my favorite thing about last week is I think I got a Snapchat saying that you were home alone for the week because Celeste was out of town.
Mistake and number one, Celeste.
Within maybe 10 or 20 minutes, I get the follow-up. Callaway irons are on their way. Like, wow, I mean, that really escalated quickly.
I stood no chance, man. Man is not made to be alone. And I was alone all week last week. And sure enough, I did the naughty. So yeah, they stood no chance. And that was another benefit is the little golf shop that I bought them from. They're based out of Florida. They literally, I ordered them on the 9th. They were shipped the next day and I got them on Sunday, the 13th. So crazy quick turnaround time. So that was another benefit because the AP2s were with the shafts that I wanted. They were a ways out. So that was another like, yeah, let's try something new. And I'm pumped that I did.
So did you ever consider trying to go hit them before you pulled the trigger, or was the thought like, good enough, I can hit them?
You think, any smart guy would go hit them. Like I hadn't even actually seen them in person. That's why I was so shocked that the face was smaller than I thought. But no, I didn't. I read a lot, watched a lot of videos, and yeah, I just was like, my thought with the Forge Club, like they're all pretty equal. I'm not gonna, the lies and the way that they're the degrees are all similar. So I was like, you know what, like I should be able to hit these, and if I like the way they look the most, then let's try them out. So yeah, I wasn't too hard set on like, no, I have to hit them first, which maybe I should, but no, I just kind of went off of faith and like, no, let's just get them and you'll make it work. So
that's awesome. I'm excited to see them in person. Hopefully soon.
Yeah. And that's it's funny. I not to be, an insult from you and Pierce at all, but after we talked about the club fitting, I literally did the exact opposite. Like did not hit it, didn't see anything. I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, man, I'm a complete moron, but that's just, that's me. So anyway, yeah, speaking of seeing him soon, the plan is, this weekend to have you come down, have Mr. Austin Pierce, and you're going to come down and visit Victor and I, and we're going to have a little a fun 2-man match that's going to be coming out. So look forward to that. If we have listeners that are actually engaged and actually care, we'll hopefully have a pretty entertaining 2-man game that we'll be filming this Saturday at Old BCC National. So stay tuned for that. That will be coming out. We'll put it on our YouTube channel and also the Instagram, but maybe some highlights along the way if you want to tune in. But I'm excited for that. I'm a little nervous, but I'm pumped.
Hey, I'll have had my clubs now for 6 months, and you'll have more swings with your irons in the 3 days you've had yours than I will. So
and people probably think you're joking. That is not even slightly. That is not
because even I'm hitting balls every night, but I'm using my backup irons on the match just because rubber mats on concrete not good for irons. Not too deep into those to.
Jeez.
The wear's got to come on the course. So legit no swings with those, and then the driver it's still gonna have its plastic on it. I'll pull the plastic off on the first tee down there this weekend. So
cannot wait. We'll get it all documented. So yeah, we're excited. But so we'll kind of keep this one shorter. We'll just wrap up with some quick picks for the Valspar, and then we'll wrap it up as we'll have some video content coming in rather than just the pod. So let's make it's the Valspar, right? Am I getting that right?
Yes. Valspar. It's in Florida. It's this course, something about Florida, but this is another course that traditionally plays a little on the harder side. So it should hopefully make for pretty entertaining. Of course, with the Players Championship feeling like it lasted for about 8 days.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit of a hangover this week.
Might see with some withdrawals this week.
Yeah, be curious to see. Be curious to see what it's like. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and lead us off?
Yeah, I'll start with a pretty easy pick. After seeing this week, I mean, he's usually always really good the first about 54 holes. So we're gonna hope that he can hang on a little bit longer. Mr. HV3, Harold Bonner III, my jump man, and send some good vibes his way.
Nice. He it's a pretty solid week and always looking fresh.
Yeah, with the Jays.
I mean, as much as I hate it, I'm gonna go with Dustin Johnson. I think he may have come in round of the day today, 7 under, just a backdoor top 10 out of nowhere. Fat paycheck he cashed.
That was a nice expensive round there.
Yeah. So I'll pick him and see what he can bring from last week.
I like it. I'm gonna go with Honest Abraham Answer. Saw him in Vegas get an albatross. The guy's he's a stud, like everything he's doing. So we'll go with him. He
seems like he'd be fun to play around to golf with.
Yeah.
Seems super down to earth and
for sure. I like his vibe.
All right. I'm gonna roll with Matt Fitzpatrick, fellow shorter, curly haired golfer. If I can't pick Rory, I'll pick another pale, curly haired, solid ball striker.
I like it. I'm gonna go with Victor Hovland. Seems like an easy pick. The guy is just you would think he would be burning both ends of the candle by now, but he's just hanging around. The guy is just a stud. So shout out to him. And I think he might be my wife's new crush. She's vibing with Mr. Hovland. He's on TV a lot lately. Low key jacked.
Smile.
He's low key jacked. He's got a contagious smile. So
hole in one this weekend too. So
what was that?
Hole in one this weekend as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah. And so he's vibing.
And on the same hole in one line, I'm going to go with Shane Lowry for my third pick. He aced 16 this weekend and 17. Because there's 2 aces on tour, 16 at Augusta and 17 at Sawgrass. So
pretty incredible hole to do it on.
Yeah, I still can't believe he threw the ball away.
I know. And signed it for the guy. Yeah, he almost took off Poulter's hand. You see, like he gave him a high five. He took his hand back. It's like it's smart.
I mean, low key, that's got to be pretty cool for them because I think Poulter and Lowry are pretty good buds.
They've got to be tight, Ryder Cup stuff, and for sure.
Yeah, have to think the drinks were flowing that night.
Yes. Goodness. All right, my last pick. I'm gonna go with Brooks. I'm hoping he's gonna find something. He's loved the shoes this week. The subtle little bright thing he had on the laces. I'm excited for those shoes to drop. I'm sure I'll cop me a pair. But so yeah, we'll go with little Brooksy.
You did you see the video they put out this week where I can't remember how they got connected, but Brooks got aware of this kid that's got super rare cancer or whatever, but Brooks is like his favorite player. So Brooks brought him out to Sawgrass and was walking around during the practice rounds and whatnot, and having the kid play along with them. And he gifted him a pair of those shoes. He said, "No one else in the world has ever seen these, but I'm giving you this pair."
Oh, that's sick.
So it was really cool. I know I feel, and I made it public, I think Brooks Koepka comes across as kind of a jerk sometimes, but yeah, but I mean, I thought it was really cool to see that, and he genuinely went out of his way and made sure that the kid had a really awesome time. And I don't know, ever since I become a dad and had a kid that's had some health challenges to start his life, I don't know, those kind of stories really,
for sure.
It's man, it just really tugs at the heartstrings for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All right, and my last pick this week, I'm gonna go with Doc Redman. Not super well known, but he played pretty well at the Players, and it was interesting because him and Doug Gim were both in contention at Sawgrass this weekend, and they were the final match in the US Am Championship 5 years ago. I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, it was at Riviera, and that match went 37 holes. It was a pretty competitive match, so it was cool to see him kind of duel it out at the Players Championship, which is
that's awesome.
Page in golf. So
he's got a great stash too. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe it's just a stash guy, but shout out to the stash.
We'll go with him.
All right, I like it. You'll make notes, and I'm sure one of them will win. And again, we might learn our lesson and start throwing down some real cash. I'm a quick drive to Mesquite or Vegas, man. It's tempting. Scary.
My problem is I'm still so in the hole from my golf equipment purchases that everything would bounce. All the checks would bounce. The credit cards are maxed out. I'm in deep. Call me Phil, because I'm in deep with some loan sharks.
Shout out to the accountant. That's awesome. All right, well, I think that's good for the week. I'm really excited for this weekend and for some of the video content we have coming out. So look forward to that and some other takes that we're excited about. Talk to some other smaller golf companies with some tournaments that they're doing, and we're going to have them on the pod too. So there's some exciting things. So again, for listeners, thank you. We hope this is still as engaging and as fun episode. What is this? I think this is episode 9, as it has been for us.
Making the turn.
Appreciate it. I like it. We might do something like a giveaway or something for the episode 10 or something cool. I don't know, but it's crazy that's already been that long, but super enjoyable as always. Pleasure, Sean, and we'll do this again here soon.
Sounds good. Looking forward to seeing my man.
All right.
Peace.
Keep striving.